So that's the mission that Inspire is on. That's what we're going to continue to do until Jesus comes, because why change? Like, we don't need something new, right? We've just got to share what we already know. And we know that Jesus is the good news. We know that he is the answer for the world. Well, hi, friends. Hey, welcome to this month's podcast.
Hello.
We're doing this, Paula.
Here we are. New year.
New year, a new way of doing the Inspire podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that we've come this far, right?
Man, it's quite a difference, right?
It's a difference. It's a huge
Yeah.
difference. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of those. Thank you guys, all of us who were part of the podcast last year. You listened, whether it was on Spotify, on YouTube, and we're just thankful. And we definitely never want to waste people's time, but we want to be able to have conversations that really inspire.
That's what we say, right?
That's what we
Conversations
say.
that inspire. And
Yeah.
that's really what we want it to be.
Yeah.
Conversations that will inspire people to know God, to
Yeah.
grow in their faith,
Yeah.
so they can inspire the next one.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
And here we are in a new season.
Yeah, it's a
and
great season.
A new year. You know, I think about when we start a new year, how people are making all kinds of new commitments, right? Mm-hmm. And thinking of all the new things that they want to start,
right,
to do something new.
Yeah.
And but one of the things that we've been talking about, even with our team, is just kind of going back to the basics. Sometimes
Right.
I think we don't need something new.
No, exactly.
We just need to go back to the basics. What are the things that we're not doing already,
Right,
that we need to pick back up
yeah.
and do? And so, you know, I think that's really important as we start a new year, to think about
absolutely.
those things.
Or the things that we forgot about doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not that we need something new. It's sometimes we just need to be reminded of what we should be doing, what we know to be doing, and just getting, but we always like a new year too. We like a new month. We like the beginning of a new week. There's something about the beginning, right?
New beginnings.
The beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, this is our fresh start. Whether it's a Monday morning or whether it's the start of a new year, it's a fresh start.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want the podcast to be this year. It's just a fresh start of, my goodness, everybody's time. It matters. Your time matters. And the fact that you're listening and you're with us at this table right now matters.
Right.
But we want the conversation to be inspiring to you and empowering to you, you know? And so I think the content of what we talk about is important, and then just helping everyone, get that fresh perspective for the year that's ahead of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've been just kind of casting fresh vision. You know, a lot of people are doing that at the beginning of the year, which, by the way, this is funny. I heard on the news the other day did you know that this coming Friday is called Quitter's Day?
No.
Because they say that it's the people already in the first 2 weeks are quitting their New Year's resolutions.
Oh, wow.
So this Friday is Quitter's Day, but we're not going to be quitters.
No.
We're not going to be quitters. But,
not at all.
But we've been talking about, just about mission and vision, casting new mission and vision. And so why don't we talk about that a little bit, just kind of refresher, 'cause we may have some new podcast listeners that don't know a lot about Inspire. So maybe just share a little bit about the mission and vision.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, we talk about the Inspire itself, the Inspire project, and then we talk about Inspire Global Sisterhood. So let me just tell you about the Sisterhood first. Inspire Global Sisterhood are those women and girls around the world who have connected to the Inspire vision, and that's a lot more than I think we're at 22,000 women and girls have actually participated in one of our events that we've held, and that number just keeps going up. And so that's the Sisterhood, right? That's all of those that have been a part of an event with us. That's we've got those that are on social media with us. That's the Sisterhood. That's just building up the family of God, right? Because we all need communities to belong to. So that's the Inspire Global Sisterhood. Inspire itself, it's a mission. It's a global mission of evangelism.
Right.
And it started, yes, y'all, if you don't know the start, yes, it started in 2018 in Vienna, Austria. And it started really with the purpose of, we can't just have good Sunday services and expect that the whole world's going to come to Jesus.
Right.
the whole world's not going to come to Jesus because you have a great Sunday service. Sunday services are great and they're wonderful, but it's about the people that attend those services being able to take the presence of God with them wherever they go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's about walking out your faith on a daily basis. And so when we started, we really started with it, and it's the same vision now in 2025 that it was in 2018.
Right.
And that is to be a global movement of evangelism, inspiring women and girls to make sharing their faith normal. And we say, you just drank coffee. I say, as normal as drinking your cup of coffee should be sharing Jesus.
Yes.
And I remember growing up, like I was like, should I tell people where I go to church? I was like,
right.
We make it weird. Like, should we tell people where we go to church? Should we tell them about that we follow the Lord? And we make conversations awkward. And Inspire is on a mission to take away the awkwardness in sharing what Jesus means to you. It should be as normal as drinking coffee. I mean, yesterday I'm walking into Costco, and a lady's walking out, and all she's carrying is 2 rotisserie chickens. I'm like, okay, you went to Costco for 2 rotisserie chickens. But as she's walking out and I'm passing her, I just said, hey, it's worth a trip in here for those 2 chickens, isn't it? She's like, yes, it is. And I'm like, I'm just making conversations with people. We have to make those conversations with people when it comes to faith, when it comes to sharing Jesus. As simple as saying, I remember when I met, when we moved here where we currently live, and there was a guy cutting grass in our neighborhood. And I passed him a lot, but one time I backed out my driveway, he's right there with his cutter, and I just stopped and talked to him, and then I just asked him, hey, where do you go to church? I just expected that he was going to tell me. Well, the news was that he doesn't go, and he hadn't been in church 11 years, and so I just kept the conversation going from there. I didn't make it awkward. I asked him why, and then just creating conversations of sharing our faith that are normal. So that is what Inspire is doing. That's why I hope that you're going to be a part of the Inspire, the greater vision of who we are, is that in 2025, sharing your faith cannot be in the bubble of your Sunday church attendance, okay? That's not where Jesus needs you to share your faith, is in the bubble of I went to church. No, sharing your faith is you have walked out who Jesus is to you, whether you've gone to work, whether you've gone to school, whether you've met someone cutting grass in your neighborhood, whether you've met somebody walking out of Costco, or you've met someone on the public tram or U-Bahn. Wherever you go, you learn how to share Jesus. So true. And so that's the mission that Inspire is on. That's what we're going to continue to do until Jesus comes, because why change? Like, we don't need something new, right? We've just got to share what we already know. And we know that Jesus is the good news. We know that he is the answer for the world. And we just have to, we have to break out of our comfort zone until it becomes comfortable. For me now, sharing Jesus is just like, it's just like easy.
Right.
It's so easy because, number one, we have nothing to lose.
Come on, say that again.
Absolutely nothing to lose by sharing Jesus. But someone has salvation to gain through our obedience.
Yes, has so much to gain.
Has eternity to gain through our obedience. And that is a message. Paula, that's a message I can get up for every day. That's a message I can put in 12, 15-hour work days if I need to. Because that's a message that matters. We talk about what matters in life. Sharing Jesus is what matters. Sharing what your faith is what matters. I could talk forever. I take up this whole podcast telling you what the vision and mission is, but it is so strong. And what if every woman and girl out there who says, hey, I know Jesus, what if they were living to inspire the next one to know him too? How much faster could we reach the world if we were all waking up every day just waiting and looking for those divine appointments to share our faith?
Yeah, we miss those all the time. Making it normal makes a difference.
Making it normal also makes it attractive. Like, people don't... living for Jesus is not weird. Serving Jesus, telling people you pray every day, telling people you go to church, telling people you read the Bible. Be proud of that. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to hide. It's something to say, yes, this is part of who I am.
So those things that you just mentioned, so those are some things that we're really, as a team and as a global sisterhood, that we're wanting to focus on this year, those spiritual disciplines of reading the Bible, praying, fasting, all those kinds of things. So, I think that a lot of people they struggle in those areas, right?
Right.
Just in developing those spiritual disciplines. And so we're kind of on a mission this year to help people level up their faith and to implement these spiritual disciplines in their lives. And I think people misunderstand what they are. Even, I mean, spiritual disciplines really are just habits.
Right.
They're new habits that we create to help us grow spiritually. They aren't spiritual gifts.
Right.
They aren't fruit of the Spirit.
No.
They're things that we have to do. We have to discipline ourselves to do. We don't like that word.
Right. Well, we don't like discipline because of pride, right? Yeah. But pride runs in all of us, and you really have to get a hold of that when it comes to your spiritual life, and set aside the pride and say, no, I'm going to go after Jesus. So what are those disciplines that I need to create in my life? And honestly, it's like learning. And once you learn it, you do get better at it.
Get better.
I know next month's podcast we'll talk about fasting, but that's one that people don't do enough of.
Right.
And that's one that we want our Inspire Sisterhood. We want all of you to participate in fasting this year as a regular spiritual discipline. Mm-hmm. We talk about fasting. We talk about Bible study, not just Bible reading, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm doing the Bible, the year plan.
Right.
Bible reading year plan. That's not my Bible study time. That's my Bible reading, but to truly be a spiritual discipline, it's not just reading, it's studying.
Absolutely.
And that takes it a little further. That's more of your deeper devotional times. So those we talk about. I think a spiritual discipline is part of your worship and prayer life. Mm-hmm. Your worship and prayer life, because not that it's just an afterthought. Oh, I'm about to go to sleep, so I need to pray real fast, or I'm waking up today, I need to pray real fast, commit this day to the Lord. It's setting aside intentional time. Yeah. We all have 24 hours in a day. Yeah. Every one of us do. And to discipline our time, to set aside intentional time to engage in prayer, to engage in worship. I play worship music in my house every morning, right? I think you know that. Like I turn on YouTube. There's a channel right now. I think it's called Daddy D's Keys, but he's just playing literally Daddy D's Keys. He's just playing worship music, and it's just scripture verses coming across. And as I'm sitting in God's presence, as I'm doing my Bible reading for the year, as I start to do my prayer time in the morning, this music is just playing, right? But you can't just play worship music in the background and say, oh, I've worshiped.
Right.
No, worship is stepping into God's presence. Yeah. Worship should cost you something.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like a personal offering that you're bringing to the Lord of your time. So those are spiritual disciplines of worship and prayer time. And, and what's the devotion we're reading right now with the Sisterhood this month?
Hearing something about hearing God.
Whisper. Yeah, so we just finished reading. It's Mark Batterson's "Hearing God's Voice," the whisper of God's voice, and in that devotional, it talks about the importance of setting aside that quiet time.
Solitude.
That solitude time. So once again, it's a discipline, right? Anytime we have to set something aside or intentionally make time for it, it takes discipline.
That's right.
Because life is full.
It does.
And we allow life to be full. But I've learned, go ahead. What?
We make time for what we want.
Totally. 110%. If you wanted to go home and cook brownies tonight, you'd make them, right? Not that we want to, but we would.
I want to. I want to.
Yes, we would. I mean, if we wanted to do something, if we wanted to go see our grandbabies today, we would get in the car and just say, we're doing this regardless. Or we can't get in the car, so we FaceTime, okay? Yeah. We would call our grandbabies just to see them. We discipline ourselves and we use our time for the things we want to.
Yeah.
So when it comes to spiritual disciplines, my goodness, how much more valuable are those to our life?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand, though, as far as spiritual disciplines. I think we have probably two extremes. On one extreme, you've got people who are like they're checking the box every day.
Right.
You know, did it.
Right.
And it makes them feel more holy, makes them feel, more loved, whatever. And then you got people on the other side who are walking around in guilt and shame because they feel like, oh, man, I missed it again today.
Right.
I'm not as worthy or whatever. And I think the thing that's important about spiritual disciplines for people to understand is, like I said a minute ago, they are things that we have to do, reading our Bible, praying, doing all those things. But it's not just about the doing. It's about being.
Right.
It's about being in His presence. It's about being closer to God. It's about being more like Him.
Yes.
And we have to do it from the right motivation and the right posture, or it becomes legalistic and it becomes a religious spirit.
Yeah.
And so we have to do it with that right heart and attitude and mindset, that we're just doing it about being with Him and being more like Him.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're that one that's been walking around of, beating yourself up because you haven't spent time fasting, you haven't spent time in the Word. Look, number one, condemnation is not from the Lord. Okay, so that's number one. So stop that. That's the enemy trying to get in your head. So you just have to say no, right? Like I'm not going to walk around in condemnation, but with every new sunrise, girlfriend, you have the potential to do it different today.
Yeah.
So maybe you messed up yesterday. Maybe you didn't do the prayer time, or maybe you didn't. Then do it today. But don't make excuses day after day after day and think you're okay.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to drift, and then you're going to wonder why you feel so spiritually weak.
Yes.
Disciplines create strength. That's the reason we do them, right? It's like I'm not a person that works out, by the way. The doctor says I need to do more. What is it like? Oh, weight resistance exercises. Okay, so I'm going to incorporate that into my 2025. Okay, you're going to see some muscles eventually.
Okay,
they're coming, y'all. They're coming. But the truth is, unless you do the discipline, you don't get the strength from it.
That's right.
Okay, and that is in lifting weights. That's in all that you do. That's also with your spiritual disciplines. Why do we call them disciplines? Because they should physically cost us something so that they produce a strength.
That's right.
And we want to be stronger spiritually. How are we going to inspire the world to know Jesus? Because you're stronger spiritually and it's becoming normal for you.
Right.
But if you don't discipline yourself to do it, is it painful? Yes. It may be hard for you at first to start carving out that time to spend in the presence of Jesus. But the more you do it, the result is it produces strength in you. Right. So that when those things come up in your life, you can handle them better.
Right. And just like you said, with working out or whatever it is, you're not, when you first start lifting weights, you're not going to start bench pressing 300 pounds the first day.
You're not even going to start doing it every day.
Right. So wherever you are in this spiritual journey, just start somewhere. Start somewhere. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day, or maybe it's 2 or 3 times a day. And you know what else? Depending on your season of life, it looks different for everybody. When I had little kids at home, it looked different than now when I'm an empty nester.
Yes.
And so you have to give yourself grace. I think God gives grace for mommies that have lots of little kids running around the house as well. But you just start somewhere. And you know what? This is so interesting. I read this article called The Power of Four. And it talks about that when you read your Bible at least 4 times a week, that 3 times it doesn't happen, 2 times it doesn't happen. But when it gets to at least 4 times a week that you're reading your Bible, it says you're 200 and I don't know, like 8 or something, 200 and something % more likely to share your faith.
Wow.
When you're reading your Bible 4 times a week.
Because it's become a discipline, right?
Yeah. So if we're wanting people to be bold in sharing their faith, then we got to get in the Word.
Yeah, we have to get in the Word. Yeah. And you can't just get in the Word and you say that's enough. No, then you have to add in fasting. Yeah. You have to add in time in prayer, time in worship. Because it's like anything you do, you can't just eat right for breakfast and then do everything else the way you want to. No, if you're going to see results, you got to eat right the whole time.
Don't
okay,
we wish that's
all
the way it worked.
Same spiritually. You can't just say, "Oh, I went to church this week, so I'm good," or "I did this, I'm good." No, girlfriend, it's a little bit of all of it that creates a discipline in our life, and it makes us spiritually stronger. And it's not because I think, and I know we need to probably wrap this up, but we don't need to go from the mindset of, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to pray. I have to.
Exactly.
That'd be like me getting up every day and saying, oh, I have to love my husband today.
Right.
I'm married. I mean, could you imagine? What type of marriage is that? Oh, I have to love him today. No, I get to.
Right.
And I choose to love him.
Yeah.
And the same way with spiritual disciplines, wake up with the attitude every day of, I get to fast, or I get to spend time in the Word. I choose to spend time in worship. I choose to spend time in prayer.
Yeah.
It's the attitude behind what you do.
Yes, your mindset matters. And
Yeah.
like you said, I know we got to wrap this up, but that happened to me whenever again, it's a discipline. So in the beginning, you do have to make yourself. But I remember when I first started running, I used to be a runner. I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
But I used
Are the knees getting bad?
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm a walker now. But
A walker.
when I started running, I hated it.
Right.
And I would run with my girlfriend every morning, my best friend, and we would run, and I would tell her with every step, I would say, oh, I hate to run. I hate to run. And have I told you how much I hate to run?
Right.
And just every day. And one day I just decided, you know what? I'm going to change my mindset and what I'm saying. And so I would be running, and I would say, I love to run. I love to run. This is going to be so good for me. I'm going to be so healthy, and hating it with every step and with every breath.
Yes.
But I changed my confession and and my mindset. And can I tell you, I don't remember how long it was, but within a matter of time, I got to where I loved to run.
Right?
Loved it and craved it.
Yes, but it was the attitude change.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the attitude change.
Yeah.
We don't do things because we have to, right? We just do things because we want to, and we do it also because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
As followers of Jesus, I mean, girlfriends, it's the right thing to do, to want to know him better, to want to spend more time with him. We do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Go to church. You need to go to church. Serve your church. You
Yes.
need to serve your church. If you're just attending, you're not serving, then get serving. It's the right thing to do. It creates spiritual strength within us when we serve God's church. And then I would just really, as we wrap this up, I just want to tell our entire Inspire Sisterhood and all of those who are connected with us, let 2025 be a year that you have that mind shift when it comes to spiritual disciplines.
Yeah.
And then you have the commitment to not be a quitter. You have a commitment to see it through the whole year. I mean, even when I remember when I was trying to drink more water, you have an app that you check off. Okay, I drank my first 8 ounces, my second 8 ounces. Well, whatever you have to do, if you want to keep it in a journal, check it off that you're doing it every day until you don't even worry about checking it off.
That's right.
Because it is so normal for you to create spiritual disciplines in your life. And then it's so normal for you to share your faith with the next girl.
Yeah.
Share your faith. Share what Jesus means to you. Invite people to church. And we say it at every one of our Inspire events, but we tell people, like, someone may laugh at you. Maybe. Someone may say no. Okay. But why should you ever stop inviting people? The world needs Jesus. And that's why we're on an Inspire mission. And I'm excited about what this year holds for not just Inspire, but for each of us who say, I'm going to live out my faith. I'm going to make it normal. And I'm going to create some spiritual disciplines in my life that produce spiritual strength.
Yeah.
So wrap it up. Wrap it up,
start
Paula.
somewhere. Just do it.
Just do it. Do it because it's right, people. Do it because it's right.
Just wherever you are, just take the next step and do it. And we're just going to commit ourselves to growing spiritually this year and see what God will do. Let's just see what God will do. I hope this has been a conversation that inspired you and that you will go inspire the next one to know Jesus.
Thank you so much for joining us for this month's Inspire podcast. We hope this has been a conversation that has inspired you. Be sure to share it with a friend, like, and subscribe. Till next month, let's make sharing our faith normal and inspire the world to know Jesus.